Welcome to the Explorers Club. The club was founded in 1904 by early Arctic explorers who made a simple but elegant promise: to promote exploration by all possible means. It was the dawn of the 20th century, yet we forget that even then, vast, remote regions of the world were uncharted and unknown. It was still a decade before club member Ernest Shackleton would sail in the Endurance on his epic Antarctic expedition. It would be 16 years before the first expeditions to Mount Everest. But America's greatest explorer-politician was in the White House, Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt himself, a member of the Explorers Club, a decade later would lead his famous River of Doubt expedition into the unknown reaches of the Amazon. For more than a century, members of the club have traversed the Earth, the oceans, the skies, and have even brought Explorers Club flags to the moon. Members Robert Peary and Matthew Henson first to the North Pole in 1909. Member Roald Amundsen first to the South Pole in 1911. Members Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay first to summit Mount Everest in 1953. Club member Reinhold Messner, the first to summit the world's 14 8,000-meter peaks without using bottled oxygen. Explorers Club members have gone to the deepest depths of the ocean in the Marianas Trench in the Western Pacific. Members Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh in 1960, and club member James Cameron in 2012. Each of the 202 Explorers Club flags is numbered, and its history is carefully preserved, along with the record of its expeditions. The flags document a formidable legacy of courage and achievement by club members since 1918. Explorers Club Flag 123 went with member Tor Heyerdahl on the raft Kon-Tiki in 1947. Flag 116 was on the first whitewater descent of the Everest of Rivers, the fabled Tsangpo Gorge in Tibet, in 2002. And Explorers Club flag was with Naomi Uemura on his solo trek to the North Pole by dog sled in 1979, another first for a club member. Members include oceanographer Sylvia Earle, an Explorers Club fellow since 1981. Time magazine named her its first Hero for the Planet in 1998. From the second generation of space explorers, club member Sally Ride was the first American woman in space in 1978. Member Commander Catherine Sullivan, the first woman to walk in space. And International Space Station Commander Leroy Chiao, a veteran of 4 space missions. Distinguished anthropologists in the Explorers Club include Jane Goodall, Lewis and Richard Leakey, Donald Johanson, and Diane Fossey. Today in Uganda, member Gladys Kalima-Zikusosa is one of the leading conservationists and scientists working to save the critically endangered mountain gorillas of East Africa. Our members come from every walk of life, women and men who add to our understanding of the world in more than 60 expeditions a year. Academic expeditions in every field of science, natural history and geography, personal quests to push the boundaries of human endurance and survival. Expeditions to bring medical care to people isolated by distance or geography. Perhaps most important, the club is leading a change in the meaning of exploration, from Western-centered to world-centered. Our initiative with the King of Bhutan and the King's Challenge is to rigorously protect the extraordinary cultures and wild landscapes of indigenous peoples, beginning in Bhutan, to promote sustainable growth and conservation. The headquarters of Explorers Club World Exploration is in the heart of New York City. And with more than 28 club chapters around the world, the Explorers Club serves as a base for expedition planning, exploration news, presentations, meetings, and events. Explorers Club public programs, lectures, and dinners now stream live around the world on our website, www.explorers.org. Over the last decade, the club headquarters has become the world's preeminent venue for screenings of expedition and exploration films. Its renowned research collection and library in the New York headquarters are a resource for scholars and researchers with more than 10,000 rare papers, photographs, films, and journals of club explorers. Its cartography collection contains 4,000 historic maps and topographical charts. Its vast collection of expedition artifacts and memorabilia is donated by Explorer members. Along with the past, the Explorers Club nurtures the explorers of tomorrow and the young explorers of today through its youth grants and Scott Perlman Field Awards to support original scientific fieldwork. In the last 5 years, the club has awarded over $500,000 to hundreds of students from all over the world. In 2013, the club awarded its first Artist in Exploration Award, underwritten by Rolex, to photographer Rebecca Reeve. In 1980, the club created the Lowell Thomas Awards, given annually at the Lowell Thomas Dinner, named after America's best-known travel writer and international broadcaster. Lowell Thomas Award winners, club members Bertrand Piccard and Andre Borschberg, were the first to fly a solar-powered airplane across the United States and set several new world distance records in solar aviation. The Explorers Medal is the club's highest honor and is awarded for extraordinary contributions in the fields of exploration, scientific research, or the welfare of humanity.
I think the Explorers Club performs a function for this country that's very, very valuable. And those days when the old maps that we used to see that showed the known world and then showed often the edges of the charts, it showed boiling pots of oil and dragons and so on. Our whole history has been one of dragon pushing dragons back off the edge and filling in those gaps on the maps. And that's a key role that the Explorers Club has provided.
The goal of SpaceX has been from the beginning to try to advance space technology, ultimately to take us beyond the Earth-Moon orbit arena and establish life on Mars. I believe I can see a path to getting the cost of moving to Mars under $500,000, which is, I think, the critical threshold necessary for it to become a self-sustaining civilization. You have to have an intersection of sets where you have enough people that want to go and can afford to go. And I think there's actually not going to be that many people that want to go. I mean, probably a lot of people in this room.
Welcome to the Explorers Club, the world center of exploration. Why should we go into space? The obvious answer is because it's there, all around us. Not to leave planet Earth would be like castaways on a desert island, not trying to escape. If one is considering the future of humanity, we have to visit other worlds ourselves. We have to boldly go. Shall I make it? We have to boldly go where no one has gone before.
Yes.
That'd be right.
We have to boldly go where no one has gone before.
What an amazing honor this is. This is definitely the Academy Awards of Exploration. There's no question. I might have picked up a couple of Oscars along the way, but this is definitely better.
A new chapter of the Explorers Club was incorporated in the state of Hawaii on December 7, 2017. The following is an introduction to the 10 founding members in the Hawaii chapter. Our first chapter chairman is Gary W. Bowersox, FN 95, explorer, author, gemologist, and entrepreneur. Gary Bowersox, a.k.a. the Gem Hunter, is well known for his 48 years of exploration in Afghanistan and Central Asia. He led an expedition that carried the Explorers Club flag on the Hindu Kush Premier Expedition in 2004 through 2005. He authored 2 books and numerous scientific articles on gemstones and minerals of Afghanistan and Central Asia. Mr. Bowersox served as a U.S. Army major in the Pacific area and Vietnam during the war. He has been the president of GeoVision for 30 years. Mark A. Blackburn, MN14, is the chapter vice chairman, owner of the world's largest private collection of Polynesian art and artifacts. Mark Blackburn has studied the people, cultures, and island of Polynesia for 40 years. He was the first person to summit the active volcano on the island of Tofua, Tonga, and is the founder of the Tongan National Museum. Dr. William R. Chapman, FN16, chapter treasurer and board chairman. Dr. Chapman was educated at Columbia and Oxford universities and is a professor and department chairman of American Studies at the University of Hawaii. He teaches in Hawaii, Cambodia, and Thailand, and specializes in architectural recording, the management of historic districts, and materials conservation. Dr. Chapman has been a member of the UNESCO Committee for Heritage Awards in Asia and the Pacific. Dr. Victoria Garshnik, FN91, chapter secretary. Dr. Victoria Garshnik is a physiologist specializing in space physiology. Her doctoral dissertation focused on investigating bone blood flow during simulated weightlessness. She provided key support to the U.S.-Russian Joint Working Group for Space Biology and Medicine, has explored asteroid impacts, and is a consultant to the International Astronautical Union Working Group on Near-Earth Objects. Victoria authored the report, Communications and Information Tools for the 21st Century, Changing the Face of Disaster Response and Humanitarian Assistance. Edward H. Karras, MN07, Chapter Director. Mr. Edward Karras is an explorer, lecturer, and sailor. His boat, the SV Ealis, completed 2 natural history expeditions to the Marquesas Islands, French Polynesia. The crew, including botanists, visited all inhabited and 3 uninhabited islands, which resulted in the discovery of 100 new-to-science species of flowering plants. These discoveries will be included in a definitive Botany of the Marquesas Islands to be published by the Smithsonian Institute. Dr. Angel A. Yanagihara, FN14, Chairman Program Committee. A marine biochemist and researcher at the University of Hawaii, Dr. Yanagihara suffered severe life-threatening stings by a swarm of Hawaii box jellyfish. She subsequently launched a study to identify the lethal toxins, which led to new therapeutic approaches in 9 countries. Dr. Yanagihara is the president, founder, and inventor at Alata Lab Solutions, LLC. Captain Karen Lynn, USN, retired, FN10, Chairman Membership Committee. Captain Karen Lynn is a retired U.S. Navy deep-sea diver and ocean engineer. The first female Navy Civil Engineer Corps diver, she has extensive experience in diving and underwater systems. Captain Lynn is a trustee and inaugural member of the Women's Divers Hall of Fame. Dr. John Henry Felix, MN10, member. Dr. John Henry Felix has had a distinguished career in business, government, labor management relations, community service, diplomacy, and education. Dr. Felix is shown here dressed in the white robe of the Catholic Order of Holy Sepulchre, an honorific knighthood sanctioned by the Pope. He is just as proud of being an Eagle Scout. Mrs. K. Colt Bowersox, MN18, member. A world traveler for over 50 years, K. Colt Bowersox is a collector with expertise in ancient masks, specializing in Papua New Guinea and Asia. She has fished competitively around the world and broke a ladies' world record in Costa Rica. She is, also, a real estate broker on the island of Hawaii. Dr. Michael S. Bruno, FN02, member. Dr. Michael Bruno is an ocean engineer and leading expert on coastal ocean dynamics, including the threats to coastal communities posed by storms, tsunamis, and climate change. Dr. Bruno is the Vice Chancellor for Research and Interim Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs at the University of Hawaii. If you are an explorer or interested in scientific exploration, come join the Explorers Club Hawaii chapter.